I guess TechAgent, we're back. Two things before I get on. First, I'm using a different lens than I usually do because my lens broke and I have no choice but to film with this lens, which is not meant to be for this kind of stuff. Second thing, I apologize for the lack of content again. I'm tired of saying this again and again, but I've been doing so many things for different people. Plus, I've got my own work that I'm busy with, so it's becoming harder and harder for me to make videos. I've got a lot of stuff to make videos on, but it's just it's becoming quite hard for me. A few years back it was a bit easier, and I thought it would get even more easier as time goes on, but that's not what's happening. Unfortunately, I think so. Anyway, that's something that I have to deal with, and I cannot complain about that, so I apologize again for the lack of content. Today we have the Beyerdynamic T1c. It's not called the T1c, but it should have been called that. It's the T5p. I don't know why Beyerdynamic calls this the T5. It doesn't make any sense. P stands for portable, so this headphone is meant to be for portable applications. Put removable system, YPS, this is CGM, chassis jack mount. I have to stop doing these for Beyerdynamics. I'm not the best at them. I don't do a very good job in finishing them, but this is quite convenient. So you can have a dual 3.5, and it's a removable system, so that's pretty nice. The headphone itself, again, all my video reviews are I'll not be talking about graphs and stuff here. That's all written in my written review on Head5, which will be linked down below. But going over this headphone briefly, it's pretty nice. It's one of the nicest Beyerdynamics I think out there. It's one of the most handsome looking headphones ever made. I think the only headphone that would reach the overall design compared to the T5p would probably be the Beyerdynamic DT880 Premium, the edition. I really like the look of those Beyerdynamics. Even the T1 itself, has that amazing mesh grill work, the finishing. The T5p is, one of the best, bar none. I think it's one of the best looking headphones out there, no doubt about that. It uses the same T1 driver with 32 ohms, a 32 ohm voice coil. That's the only thing different about the T5p compared to the T1, which all sounds good on paper. Sounds good when I say it, but that's not exactly what's happening with the T5p, unfortunately. In fact, I am so disappointed in this headphone that I think it's one of the worst headphones I've ever evaluated, and one of the worst headphones ever made by man, period. I think it's one of the worst out there, and it's very sad for me to say that, because I've never done a negative Beyerdynamic review. I've always been a Beyerdynamic guy for you guys, but unfortunately the T5p just doesn't, it's just not up to snuff in terms of what I expect in terms of a high fidelity headphone. But we'll get to that. Let's talk about the comfort and stuff. The pads, this is the generation 1 again. Just keep in mind, this review is for the generation 1, but after correction that's irrelevant, because the minuscule differences you get with the generation 2 will be irrelevant after correction. So take it as you may, but I'm just saying, disclaimer that this is a generation 1. There's also a generation 2 T5p. The pads, they're nice, genuine leather pads. I don't know if they're lambskin or cowhide. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know much about leather, but this is genuine leather. Personally not a huge fan of it. I think they are a bit thin. They're soft, they're nice. Comfort for me has not been an issue. I mean, a lot of people complain about sweat and stuff. Not for me. I think they're pretty comfortable. But again, some people I've seen, they have complained about this headphone. Headband is one of the best, Beyerdynamic Tesla headbands. The T1 and the T5p have always been just absolutely amazing. So, comfort on the headband front shouldn't be an issue, I think. Clamping and stuff is just ideal. I mean, this is just perfect clamping. There's nothing wrong about that. So overall, comfort and stuff is absolutely amazing, I think. Isolation of this headphone is absolutely amazing. And it's pretty surprising because you've got these two big ports on here, but even considering the ports are there, the isolation is among the best. I think I would say it's as good as the DT770. This is the DT770 Pro, not the M. I would say it's as good as the DT770M with the leather pads. So pretty good isolation. It actually is a closed back headphone, which is really nice. There have been times that I was watching a movie with my K1000s, and I can hear the background noise, TVs running and stuff. I just put the T5p back on, and everything is just pretty much amazing. So for a closed back passive headphone, absolutely amazing. I think isolation is one of the best, if not the best, I've heard. It's not as good as the DT48, but what is? Sound of the T5p. This is where things get pretty bad for this headphone. Bass extension. The biggest problem with the DT150 that I reviewed a few months ago, I said the bass is there, but it does not extend as well because it runs out of excursion space. Same case with the T5p. That is, it's capable of bass, and I think treated chamber design or treated enclosure, if everything is right, this headphone is capable of some bass. Like the T1 is capable of some sub bass. It's not as extended as an ideal headphone, but it is pretty good. T5p not so much. T5p rolls off completely with only if you try to correct below 70 hertz or even 80 hertz for that matter, all you get is unnecessary accentuation. There is no extension below that. You try to extract some extension, you might get some halves of some frequencies, but that's pretty minuscule, and you're really not gaining that extension you get from a high-end headphone. So in terms of extension in the bass, almost non-existent, which is pretty unfortunate. There's accentuation but not extension, which is a completely different thing. So bass, pretty bad. The DD770 offers real extension. You can get amazing bass extension from the 770, and it costs 10% of the cost of the T5p. So I don't really see why Beyerdynamic launched the T5p. It just doesn't make any sense. You go to the mid-range, there's a problem here, and I've talked about this in detail, but on a Headfire written review. But briefly speaking, it's pretty unnatural. There is no timbre accuracy here. It sounds colored, it sounds unnatural, it sounds peaky, it sounds spiky. The best way to put it, it just sounds unnatural. There's no organic tone to it. So a lot of people say Beyerdynamics are not about the organic tone, they're about the fun. But with the T5p, there is no organic tone to it. There is no fun to it as well. There is nothing there. With this headphone, it's just a bland sounding headphone, which is quite unfortunate because you wouldn't expect this from $1,000 closed back headphone. You go to the highs, it's the same old thing. There is a lot of things to be done, and even if you try to combat the frequencies and you try to correct the frequencies, this will affect the other frequency domain, because again, the thing about the T5p, there's more to it than correcting the frequency response of the headphone. The overall chamber as well limits the amount of correction you can do, because any type of fixing you do, it hinders the previous fix that you did in the lower frequencies. So there's a lot to the Beyerdynamic T5p in terms of correction. It's not the easiest to correct because of the limited chamber design, but I at that point I just completely gave up because it was a hopeless endeavor. There's no point in correcting this headphone because it's just a hopeless headphone. There is no potential in the overall chamber. I wouldn't say the drivers are bad, because they're not. The T1, I know how amazing it is, but the T5p is just not up to snuff, unfortunately, which is quite bad. It's so bad that in my written review I've compared that the T1 to the Shure SRH 440. I mean, that this shouldn't happen. Me comparing a headphone which is $1,000 Beyerdynamic to a $60 Chinese headphone, Chinese driver at least. Shure is from America, but it's quite unfortunate. There's no soundstage, again, because of the frequency response. It hinders the overall space or the overall source, because if the frequency response is not right, it will affect the source. It will affect the the overall just presentation of the sound. So unfortunately, the T5p is just not up to snuff. I think it's among the worst headphones I've ever heard, and it's pretty bad because in Beyerdynamic's own line there are better headphones like the DT770 that I showed you guys. I think this headphone far surpasses the T5p and has real bass extension. It offers real bass extension compared to the T5p, and also the Beyerdynamic DT250, which I think is one of the best headphones Beyerdynamic has ever made. Again, after correction, this headphone is, I think, a gem in its field. I think it's one of the best out there. So the T5p, it's quite unfortunate that this headphone is not that good. I just cannot recommend this headphone at $1,000 plus. There's just better options out there in the open back category as well as the closed back category for like 80% less the money. So T5p among the worst I've heard. Pretty unfortunate for Beyerdynamic. Pretty unfortunate for me because I really thought this headphone was pretty good, but after hearing I'm in shock because I never expected this kind of results from a high-end Beyerdynamic. So it's pretty unfortunate. The T5p is a pretty bad headphone. I don't recommend it. But if you're looking for a closed back Tesla Beyerdynamic, then I recommend the DT1770. Or maybe, if you I don't know how the differences between the the T5p generation 2 and the 1, but if you can also try the generation 2 out. Maybe it's different. I'm not 100% sure. I've not heard it yet, so I cannot say. But in my opinion, the T5p is just not a good headphone. So that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys next time with more vintage headphones. I've got a lot of them coming up, and take it easy. And like always, have a good one. All right.